Hi, everyone. Welcome to our mental health talk. Today, we're going to be talking about holiday stress. I am Ariel with KCW Psych. I'm here with my colleague, Emma. I'll just say a little bit about myself. So, I'm a therapist with KCW Psychological Services. I am in New York and I see clients in the New York and New Jersey area. Um, yeah, I'll give it to Emma.
Hi everyone. My name's Emma. I also work with KCW Psych. I'm an associate marriage and family therapist in California. And yeah, that's a little bit about me. I'm in the West Coast. I'm in Los Angeles. So as you could see, we work in different states with KCW Psych. So today, we just want to do a few announcements before we get started. So, as you could see, we're no longer doing lives at the moment. We are introducing this new mini podcast sort of situation. So, similar to our lives, we are going to be talking about different mental health topics, either if it's relatable to clients, to ourselves. We just want to continue to bring education out there. Um, yeah. What else?
So, um, as we're shifting, the lives are going to come out the last Wednesday of every month. So make sure you look on our page, 3 p.m. Pacific time, 6 p.m. Eastern time. And also, please sign up for our newsletter so you can stay up to date with topics and events that KCW is doing in the community. The newsletter comes out every Tuesday and it features different mental health topics. And we'll have a link in our bio so that you can sign up if you haven't done so yet. And Emma, I think you have a special announcement, right, about the blog?
Yes, so we have the blogs up and running again. So please feel free to feel free to come on over to KCW Psych website and check out our blogs. We have past blogs, but now that we're shifting to this new blog writing, I hope that everyone tunes in as well as the newsletter. Like Ari said, it brings a lot of good information and topics on a weekly basis. As for the blogs, I forgot to mention, those are more on a monthly, every 2 weeks or of some sort. I'm still trying to figure that out, but the blogs are up and running. All right. So to get started, today's topic or this month's topic is related to holiday stress. The holidays are literally here. I was going to say right around the corner, but they're literally here. I feel like with Halloween, things just pick up and running and all the way through December. Even once after the New Year's, I feel like the holidays are just nonstop. So Ari and I wanted to talk a little bit about what holiday stress looks like and a few different tips of how to navigate the stress.
Yes. So, should we get started?
hmm Yeah. Do you want to
Okay.
start?
Yeah, I can. So as we said, we're going to be talking about holiday stress, what's coming up for us, maybe some common themes, and then give hopefully share some tips at the end. So as we started to think about, the upcoming holidays, we thought some stressors that seem to reoccur or, be common themes that people might deal with are maybe feeling isolated or lonely, like especially maybe like while you're single for the holidays, if you're unpartnered, or maybe you're far from family or like physically far from family, or maybe estranged from your family. So just maybe not in communication in ways that you would like to be. You want to maybe do the next one?
Yeah. So also another stressor that might come up is that financial pressure from gift giving, traveling and hosting as well. A lot of times the pressure to give the perfect gift to someone does include how much that gift could cost. And a lot of times we try to go above and beyond for our loved ones, but sometimes minimal is good. Same thing with travel. I know traveling and flight prices, they tend to go up. So navigating with that, and also hosting, having to go to the market, buy the actual food and yummy treats, or hosting with all the decoration around the house. That adds to that financial pressure of the holidays itself.
Mhm. Another one that comes up often is grieving during the holidays. So, what comes to mind first for me is like grieving the absence of like a loved one during the holidays, maybe like during gatherings or traditions that they would normally be present for if they're no longer with us. But also, grief, can extend to like many different things and situations. So, I don't know, maybe grieving the end of a relationship during the holidays, or maybe grieving like the loss of a job. Maybe you lost your job and it's the holidays and you're expected to be, in a festive mood, but you're just kind of not feeling that because you're grieving. You could be grieving different things during that time.
Mhm. I think I want to add a little bit to that where you mentioned the grief. I think it kind of ties back to like feeling isolated or lonely. As I had mentioned to you off this recording, is seeing the perfect family in advertisements and all over the place of like the mom, dad, and the kids being united, but a lot of times family dynamics are differently.
Mhm.
So that I just wanted to add to like the grief of not having this sort of situation that's like right up in your face.
Right. Like what the ideal picture that, is being projected to you
Yeah.
more than usual, even though we see it like every day, like at the holidays, I guess it's more prominent because they're trying to sell you more things. So it's everywhere. Right. Um, so we also have the overwhelm of trying to create the perfect holiday. So Emma touched on that too when she was mentioning, shopping and hosting and gift giving. I think that all kind of wraps up and culminating, trying to just create the perfect image of holiday, whether it be, the pressure to do it for yourself, like you're putting that pressure on yourself, or maybe we want to give those experiences to other people, maybe to kids or maybe to family members. So the pressure of trying to just create what we feel like would be a perfect moment.
Yeah. Um, yeah, sorry, I feel like I had skipped something, but I think it just goes back to like the navigating the complex family dynamics and unresolved tensions too. Other than what I mentioned earlier, is also coming back with like, oh, it's a family celebration, the pressure of being around a certain aunt or uncle or cousin that you don't have a good relationship with. So having to navigate with the elephant in the room in a way. So those tensions that are there are very stressful. And I feel like these are a few common topics that I've seen around clients is going back home or navigating with a certain person that a lot of feelings could come up as well. Which could kind
Definitely.
of lead us to like maybe sharing more of like our personal stressors or something that aligns with us or with clients itself.
Right. Yeah. Any of these coming up for you, or just what are the most common ones you may have seen in your work with clients before we get into like personal
I
anecdotes?
think the one I mentioned where like, okay, I have to go back home and deal with X person, um, that comes out a lot. Especially, I feel like it in both our cultures. It's the pressure of like, oh, family is everything. Even if you're mad at each other, by the end of the year, you're supposed to be united and be okay with whatever happened. It's a new beginning, blah, 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 blah. But at times it's hard. It's really hard to really like forgive and forget certain
Hmm.
situations. So that's something that comes up with clients. I think also, what would it be? Maybe grieving the absence of loved ones,
Hmm.
especially when I worked with little ones, with kids or teenagers in the foster care system, going back to like that picture perfect family. A lot of times those that were not with their mom, with their dad, it really brought up a lot of feelings, which then led to like the disruptive behaviors because the kids didn't know how to express themselves appropriately. So I feel like those two things are ones that come up with clients. How
That you
about
see a
with,
lot.
yeah, how about with yourself?
Yeah, I agree. I see the like the one that you mentioned, having to be in spaces with family members or people that you don't get along with, and a lot of anticipating maybe uncomfortable conversations, anticipating tension, and clients having like a lot of anxiety, having to be in places and in really close spaces with people and expecting to interact with people that they don't,
Mhm.
particularly get along with or enjoy. So that's something that comes up a lot, in conversation with clients. And also, I don't know if it's because of the age range of the clients. A lot of the clients that I happen to see, I would say they're kind of like in that millennial age range. And like they're just starting to get like the baton of the traditions passed off to them. So it's kind of like they're just starting to like host,
Mhm.
and there's a lot of pressure to create or to carry on traditions or to create what their parents had, and a lot of pressure like they put on themselves, and also they don't want to be talked about. They don't want aunt so and so to say XYZ, and they put a lot of pressure on, um, just creating that perfect experience, and it leads to a lot of overwhelm and anxiety that we end up talking about around the holidays.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Mm.
That's funny you mention like the millennial and stuff like that because I see memes and videos just joking around about like the aunties or like the tias not knowing how to make tamales or pozole for the holidays. So it's like telling the younger get generation like, oh, just make sure you eat everything you can from grandma or the older women in the family because the new generation of aunts are
Doesn't know
just
how to do
so
it.
good.
Yeah, yeah. My phone starts blowing up with like my friends pinging like, "Do you have a recipe for this? Like, what's your collard green recipe? Like, what's your mac and cheese recipe?" Because we're starting to feel that. Yeah.
Yeah, the pressure. Um, but yeah, just I guess my experience too is also like the perfect holiday. For those of you who don't know, I have a 2-year old. So right now for me, it's like, okay, I want to decorate for Halloween, make sure she feels the spirit of it. Or in my culture, we practice like Dia de los Muertos, Day of the Dead. So having like an altar and teaching her the culture of it all. Same thing with like Thanksgiving and Christmas. I don't think my family is so big on Thanksgiving, but it's just like another excuse to meet up, at least with my immediate family. But Christmas is one where I'm like, okay, I want to go all out. I want to have like the perfect picture and just have like just every year of Christmases have like this perfect image of her growing up during the tradition. So I definitely put pressure on myself to want to have the house decorated inside and out, kind of like Christmas vomit all over the place.
Hmm.
So navigating with that, and then that adds to like that financial pressure of like, oh, I go to the store and I see this new thing that I don't have at home or that's similar. So it's between do I pay for it? Do I not? Do I really want to spend this much money on something that I just use once a year?
Yeah. Good questions. Good questions. And I think, always being grateful for the things that you can recycle from holiday season to holiday season to kind of alleviate some of that.
Mhm.
Yeah. Um, I think that for me personally, this holiday season, I'm going to be traveling, on vacation. Not, traveling to see family, I think is one thing that I've done, for holidays. But this holiday season, like, I'm going on vacation with my family, and this is going to be the first time I'm doing that. And I feel like it's bringing up a lot of like financial pressure, and also like the pressure of just navigating like not only the perfect holiday experience, but the perfect vacation. And like vacations are never perfect. And like the more people you add into them, like the more complicated they become.
Oh yeah.
So while I'm excited to go, I'm noticing that I'm also becoming overwhelmed with like the planning and the logistics. And I'm like, it's adding more layers onto it that I did not think about when, months and months ago when we decided that this would be a good idea.
It's
Yeah.
yeah, on you. Do you mind me asking where are you guys going?
Yeah, we're going to Dubai.
Oh, no.
And we're gonna get there Christmas Day, and then we're staying through New Year, so we can spend New Year's there as well.
Okay. Oh, that's gonna be so beautiful.
Yeah, I hope so. I'm excited. I've never been. There's a few of us that haven't been, so we're really excited, but at the same time, we're like, what are we going to do all these days? And then we're find ourselves leaning on, the family members that have been there to plan the majority of it and to schedule a lot of the things. And I'm thinking about, oh, that's probably a lot of pressure for them. And what's that going to feel like? And then everybody's money situation. So obviously spending a lot, it's expensive to go there. And then, there's still people home that you want to buy gifts for and do things for as well. So like the financial aspect of it is feeling pretty heavy too.
But you'll have fun regardless of how things go planned or not. It'll be
Yeah.
fine. You'll probably just come back needing a vacation from the vacation.
Thank you. Yeah, I hope so.
All right. Anything else that you relate to before we move forward?
Yeah, you know what? I wanted to ask you, so we went through the things that come up the most or that we see the most. Out of them, are there any that you think don't get talked about enough? Or like maybe are there ones that we overlook that don't get brought up?
Mhm.
Because I know I was thinking about I don't know if I've asked clients like about how they felt being single during the holidays. Like I know that might be like a recurring thing we might talk about throughout treatment, any other time, but I don't know if I've ever checked in without them bringing it to me. If I've ever checked in intentionally about that, knowing that that can be, if that's something somebody's struggling with any other day, how that might present for them during, like the holiday time that you mentioned, that all this imagery is coming at us with like families and children and things like and partners and things like that. So I'm wondering if that is one that kind of like maybe flies under the radar sometimes.
I'm trying to think back to like my caseload. I don't think I've ever talked to anyone in terms of like being single. I think a lot of my caseload comes from like just mostly like childhood trauma, trying to work on
Mm-hmm.
like
Mm-hmm.
marriages or relationships already. Um, so, but it is a good topic. It is a good idea because I even myself I didn't think about it until you brought it up. But I think the financial pressure, I don't think a lot of our clients are comfortable talking about finances.
Yeah.
Um, so at the same time, it doesn't make me ask about it, like, oh, how's your financial situation? Because it could be very triggering, or
Mm-hmm.
just how we've grown up. It's like, oh, we don't talk about politics, finances, and religion to
Yeah.
others. So um, a lot of times the clients that I have talked about in terms of finances are because they come to me and tell me
Mm-hmm.
about their anxiety around it. But I think that's something that I've started to see is picking up right now, given the situation
Mm-hmm.
with how everything's going on around us here in the country. So it's like the job stability, worries around, am I going to be fired tomorrow or not? Or like there's these different changes and planning going on with the departments where my clients work, that at the end of the day, it's like, okay, am I going to have a job a couple months from now? I'm just seeing my balance go down rather than going up. So I think that that's one I could point out.
Yeah, that was my number two as well. I'm glad we were like on the same page. You thought about it too, because I'm like, we just, the state of the economy, like we're dealing with financial pressure all the time. So like, it doesn't disappear when the holidays come around. It almost gets worse because you're expected to spend more
Yeah.
sometimes. So like you said, like those things, like maybe feeling how you're feeling about being single or how people are feeling about financial pressure might be things that people are less forward with or less ready to talk about maybe in therapy, but definitely things I want to be more mindful of going forward.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah. So yeah, other than that, I guess we'll move forward with like how to manage these stressors.
Hmm.
I'm thinking we could list out a few and then talk about anything that might come up for us.
Yeah,
So
sounds good.
just so you guys know, these are a few things that we had written down just to see how we could keep the peace during the holiday season. So the first one would be acknowledging your emotions, setting boundaries, redefining traditions, seeking connection, setting realistic expectations, scheduling downtime, keeping your routine, honoring your grief, and creating a budget and sticking to it. So I feel like I went a little quick on the list, but anything that might have come up for you?
Yeah, I like this list. I feel like we could use all of them throughout the holiday season at different times. But I think what's coming up for me is the most is like the setting the realistic expectations. Like I said, because I'm going to be going on a holiday vacation. So reminding myself that even when you stay home for the holidays, there's no perfect holiday. Vacations are always hopefully a ball, but always a mess in some way or another. So just wanting to focus on being intentional about who I'm there with and why we're there versus like trying to create the perfect experience because there's no such thing, especially when there's so many different people involved in a place we've never been. So I like that one. And also the scheduling downtime. I feel like it's something that I talk about with clients every day, but I feel like in the holidays, like that kind of goes out the window and you're expected to just be one place after another, doing one thing after another until it's over. Like we don't really think about me time until we get through the season. But I really want to try to bring in that time to like rest and recharge, do nothing, just sit around maybe with each other and do nothing. That could be a nice holiday activity. So for our vacation, like we're being intentional about just planning one thing a day. Like there's also like a backup option if you don't want to do the one thing, but like not filling up an itinerary every single day. So those are two that I definitely want to keep in mind this season. How about you?
I think for myself, I really resonate with like acknowledging your emotions. I feel like September through the end of the year brings up a lot of different emotions for myself. So I feel like I've been doing better at giving myself permission to feel a certain way, especially like sadness that might come up with certain triggers or situations that bring me back to past things. So really sitting with my emotions, and that also goes to say like feeling happy for the holidays. Again, I know we are in a tough situation in a way with how things are being handled, but how can I explain it? A lot of people are grieving, and I know sometimes we feel guilty over being happy when awful things are happening out there. So, giving myself permission to say, you know what, I'm doing things that are within my control. I'm doing things that still benefit the community one way or another in my own way. And being okay with, you know what, I'm still going to keep celebrating the holidays, celebrating traditions. Um, I don't know if it's maybe from like, because my point of view is more so like mom mode, where like I want my little one to kind of be happy and not see all things happening outside of her bubble, especially because she's 2 years old. So
Mhm.
I'm giving myself that permission to be happy during the holiday.
Yeah, I like that because it's like you're giving yourself permission to be happy through her because you get to
Yes.
have that experience through her eyes too.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I think it kind of goes back to like, I really love the inner child work, where it's like I'm trying to just preserve her childhood, her innocence. So that's one thing. And I think one other one is like keeping routine. So keeping the same routine as I'm navigating with like, let's say holiday shopping or with decoration, putting it in my schedule of like, okay, I'm gonna work, let's say 9 to 5, and then holiday creation or holiday stuff for an hour or two in the evening, and then do stuff with my daughter or do stuff for myself in terms of like, okay, maybe some self-care or here and there, or like with the Legos that we've talked about, which I haven't picked up. Because when I do a Lego, I want to start from A to Z. Like, I don't want to leave it halfway, but that's something I do want to look forward to.
Oh, me too. Definitely, we should share our holiday Legos, whatever we did over the season, maybe at the end.
That's on my Christmas list. My sisters are like, what do you guys, what does everyone want for for Christmas, and right away I'm like Legos.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I think that's all we have for today.
Mhm.
Just reminder to everyone that we are now going live on YouTube, or our videos are going to be live on YouTube by the last Wednesday of the month around 3 p.m. Pacific time, 6 p.m. Eastern time. And yeah, just keeping an eye out for that, and the link for the newsletter.
Yes, that's in our bio.
Yeah.
Oh, and the blog. You can find the blogs on the website, right? That's how you
Yeah.
access the blog through the KCW
Yeah, on the
website.
website, or same thing. It should be linked in the bio. Navigating through that or reaching out to us, and we could also send it your way as well.
Definitely. Yeah. Okay.
All right, Ari, thank you everyone for staying tuned. We'll see you soon.
Thank you. Bye.